Hello and welcome. I'm Kevin Ochsner. We're coming to you from NCBA's Washington, D.C. office, located just a short distance from Capitol Hill. When we ask producers about the value of NCBA, one of the first answers they give us is how the organization provides a strong voice here in Washington on behalf of the cattle industry. So today, we're going to spend our time getting insight into the work being done here each and every day, whether it's on Capitol Hill, at the USDA, the EPA, or even at the White House. Joining me now are NCBA President-elect Craig Uden and Vice President Kevin Kester. Gentlemen, thanks for coming to the show.
Thanks, Kevin.
Hi, Kevin.
Craig, first question for you. Why is it important for NCBA to have a physical presence in an office here in Washington, D.C.?
Well, as a producer, I can't always have my boots on the ground in D.C., so I have to rely on a team. It's a lot like a state. We have a strong state-national partnership, but when you look at a state, they're housed in their capital. And one reason we are located in D.C., this is where the action happens. This is where things come together, a lot of meetings, a lot of hearings. And as a producer, I need to know that we're involved in those hearings. You know, agriculture doesn't have a real big voice, so we have to have a lot of input on the ground level. So I think it's very important to have boots on the ground in D.C.
And Kevin, NCBA has made a strategic decision to really beef up the staff here in D.C. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
You bet. It's exciting times. There's a lot of good stuff going on. Back in 2015, the NCBA Board of Directors and our state affiliate partners made a decision to have a discussion about the policy division investment. And so out of that discussion came some investment revenues into our D.C. office here. Hugely important. And what that's done, we have beefed up the staff, everything from an office manager to a director of international trade to public lands issues to EPA and U.S. waters of the United States and legal issues. And so across the board, we've beefed up our DC staff and our efforts here, and it's starting to pay off big time for us.
It's outstanding. And so Craig, I'd ask you, does that allow us to tackle some additional issues or represent cattle producers on issues that we weren't able to before?
You bet, because right now, let's take trade, for example. Trade has been a big issue, so we've got a person working directly on trade. We also been hearing a lot about the CME and how the market needs to be looked at, and so we have people that are on live cattle marketing. So we have a lot of institution right here that's working day to day on behalf of the members out there. So waters of the United States, very contentious issue with us as producers. Somebody on the ground right there and doing a lot of good work, and as well as endangered species. We have to have all these people because we know we're facing more issues every day, so it takes a lot more so things don't fall through the cracks.
So Kevin, can you point to some specific wins that would not have been possible without some boots on the ground here in D.C.?
Absolutely. Number one, like we've been talking about, waters of the United States, we're in the process of, I think, getting a pretty big win. We've got to stay in the federal court system right now, and as we continue on with the new administration, I think we have a chance of getting that rule withdrawn. Also, we've had some good tax issue wins, Section 179 expansion on those deduction amounts, and other tax issues over the past year or so. We've had some public lands wins where we've kept in lieu property taxes available for our local rural economies, and that's so important to some school districts and other entities. And so we've got a lot of good stuff because of our boots on the ground here in D.C. that we can say we've had some wins, and we need to keep that ball moving.
Outstanding. And Craig, we talk a lot about legislative issues, but there's also a lot of regulatory issues that impact us as cattle folks. Can you tell us about some of the efforts through the end of this year to address some of those regulatory issues?
Well, right now we're still working on the GIPSA. The GIPSA rule is out there, and we're going to continue to work on that. Waters of the United States, there's some movement there. Another real key one right now is the sage grouse through the Defense Authorization Act that we're looking at, as well as other things that we're working on with the FDA as far as animal drugs and stuff like that. So yes, there's a lot of key things right now that we hopefully will have addressed by the end of the year.
So Kevin, I would ask you, how can NCBA members support efforts right here in D.C.?
Well, it's hugely important to support our D.C. efforts by becoming a member, starting with your local association, the Cattlemen's Association, your state affiliate, organization in the cattle industry, and NCBA. You should belong across the board to all three, as well as contribute to our political action committee. I'm happy to say and proud to report in this past election within the last couple of weeks, we had almost a 94% success rate on contributions made to candidates and elected officials. We had 94% win ratio. So
that's outstanding.
That's good. And our PAC has grown to about $1 million now for this election cycle. We're the #2 largest ag PAC in Washington, D.C. We need to continue that growth to continue future success.
Absolutely. And Craig, what would you add?
Well, I think becoming a member on your state, understand what the issues are, understand what the industry's about, get involved, see what the big picture is. And a lot of producers out there like me play into different avenues of the industry, and I think it's very key for people to understand what their industry's about and what effects up and down the chain certain rules and regulations have. So get involved, stay involved, and let your voice be heard.
Amen to that. And thank you both for your insight and the leadership you provide to our industry. We appreciate it.
Thank you, Kevin.
Appreciate it.